And I found out about you just by seeing your son on YouTube. You know, this phenomenal young man that had so much wisdom, knowledge, and insight. You know, he had punchy lines, and it just attracted me to the point where me, my daughter, my nephew were right around listening to him. And here you are, the father of this young man, King Na. And so I followed you throughout this amazing journey. And you have this quote where you talk about the boy somehow becoming a man. And I'd like to just maybe start there for those who don't know your journey and your experience of even kind of like the entrance to your book. Please tap into the mindset of the boy that was Dash Hudson.
So many different parts and pieces when it comes to me looking at the world through the eyes of my pain. I always say, you know, it's a difference between a broken boy, a male, and a fully developed man. And I always correlate it to caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly. So in hindsight, me being the man that I am today, I could look back at the moments that played a major part in my life, that played a major part in my humility, that played a major part in my confidence, that played a major part in how I love and the kind of love that I want to give to the world. I always say, you know, when you inspire, you're held accountable for the inspiration. So we look back at great people, you know, and it's like, this person is so great. And when we read books, the chapters of adversity is our favorite chapters. So I have chapters in my life, you know, being physically abused at the age of 6, growing up in foster homes, mental health facilities, watching my friends die in front of me, you know, growing up without a father, being physically abused by my mother as well. And you know, I'm dancing with the algorithm because, you know, I continue to get like strikes sometimes. So I'll say molested. You know, I was molested at the age of 6 on my way to school. So going through those trials and tribulations and going through those moments that give me the opportunity to feel and to connect to the man that I am today. But the little boy was just going through so much noise, and the little boy was just on this inner journey of pain and suffering and disconnecting, wanting to connect to my mother, my family, my friends, myself. But, you know, not having an identity or an idea of what my inner reflection looked like. The little boy just existed. There was no definition, there was no contrast, there was no color to my existence. I was just collecting life.
And so, what was that little boy, your inner self, what were you longing for at that time?
A father, reflection. I talk about in the book, you know, it's those moments that you remember that you can speak to the world today. So, you know, water guns, fire hydrant, you look in a puddle, you see a reflection of yourself, and there's no connection to the reflection. Who am I? Why am I here? Am I important? Do I matter? You know, so that emptiness followed me everywhere. That emptiness followed me everywhere. And it's kind of like when you look at a picture and you're like, man, what was I thinking? What was I going through? But living that moment for your whole entire life, like never knowing why you existed, never knowing why you showed up, feeling invisible, you know. So I was deep into thought, but I want to make sure I get to your exact question. What was your exact question?
What were you longing for?
Okay. So again, a father, identity, love, connection, you know, always yearning. So my sisters, they got the good grades. They were the one that connected to my mother, but the way I connected was through misbehaving. So, you know, I remember going to class and I was thinking of things to do every day, you know. So I'm gonna jump on the desk today. I'm gonna throw some books today. I'm gonna spit some spitballs today because this allowed me to be seen. So it was literally a cry out for help, wanting to be loved, wanting to be seen, because that was my permanent inner reflection of I don't exist, or feeling like I didn't exist to myself or the world.